Bobby Sherman. America has lost Bobby Sherman, one of the most recognizable teen idols of the late 1960s and early 1970s. For millions of Americans, his face was everywhere. He was on television screens, on magazine covers, on bedroom walls, and on radios across the country. Long before social media created overnight celebrities, Bobby Sherman became a national sensation through pure popularity. Young fans memorized his songs, crowded his concerts, and followed every step of his career. His success represented a unique moment in American entertainment when television, music, and celebrity culture came together to create household names known from coast to coast. Born in California, Sherman entered the entertainment world at a young age and quickly discovered that he possessed a rare combination of charisma, good looks, and musical talent. His appearances on television introduced him to a national audience, but it was his music career that transformed him into a phenomenon. Hit songs such as Little Woman, Julie Do Ya Love Me, and Easy Come Easy Go helped him become one of the biggest young stars in America. During his peak years, his records sold in enormous numbers and fan clubs appeared throughout the country. Few performers of that era generated the kind of excitement that surrounded Bobby Sherman. What made Sherman different from many celebrities of his generation was the direction his life eventually took. While countless entertainers spent their entire lives chasing fame, Sherman chose a completely different path. As the years passed and the spotlight faded, he stepped away from the entertainment industry and focused on serving others. Instead of seeking another comeback, he trained as an emergency medical technician and later became involved in emergency services education. It was a remarkable transition. A man who once stood before screaming crowds decided that helping people during their most difficult moments was a more meaningful way to spend his life. Many Americans admired that decision even more than his success in show business. It revealed a side of Bobby Sherman that the public had never fully seen during his years as a teen idol. Beneath the fame was a man committed to responsibility, service, and community. Those values earned him respect far beyond the entertainment industry. In his later years, Sherman largely stayed away from the celebrity lifestyle. He remained connected to fans who continued to appreciate the music and television memories he had given them decades earlier. As younger generations discovered his work, many were surprised to learn that one of America's biggest stars had willingly walked away from fame to pursue a life of service. News of his passing has brought an outpouring of tributes from fans, fellow entertainers, and people who admired his extraordinary journey. For some, he will always be remembered as the smiling young singer whose songs filled the airwaves. For others, he will be remembered as a man who used his second chapter to help others when they needed it most. Bobby Sherman leaves behind more than hit records and television appearances. He leaves behind an example of how a life can evolve beyond fame. In a country that often celebrates celebrity above all else, his story reminds us that character can become a person's greatest legacy. Today, America remembers not only a star, but also a man who chose service over spotlight and left an impression that will not soon be forgotten. George Wendt. America has also said goodbye to George Wendt, a television icon whose work helped define one of the most beloved sitcoms in American history. While some actors become famous through dramatic performances or blockbuster films, Wendt built his reputation through something much harder to achieve. He made audiences feel comfortable. For more than a decade, viewers welcomed him into their homes every week through the hit television series Cheers, where he played Norm Peterson, a character who became one of the most recognizable faces on American television. Born and raised in Chicago, Wendt did not arrive in Hollywood as an overnight success. Like many performers, he spent years developing his craft and searching for opportunities. His early career included work in comedy and theater experiences that helped shape the natural style that would later make him famous. He was never the loudest performer in the room. He did not rely on flashy tricks or dramatic attention-seeking. Instead, he possessed a rare ability to make people laugh simply by being present. That gift would eventually change his life. Everything shifted when Cheers premiered in the early 1980s. Set inside a Boston bar, the series quickly became one of the defining television programs of its era. Among its cast of memorable characters, Norm Peterson stood out immediately. Norm was the regular customer everyone seemed to know. Nearly every entrance into the bar triggered a familiar greeting from the crowd, followed by one of his perfectly timed jokes. Over time, the character became a symbol of the show itself. Even people who never watched every episode knew exactly who Norm was. For millions of Americans, George Wendt represented something familiar and comforting. Cheers was more than a comedy. It became part of everyday life for an entire generation. Families gathered around television sets to watch new episodes. Friends repeated favorite lines at work and school. Through all those years, Wendt remained one of the show's most dependable and beloved figures. His performance earned multiple award nominations and established him as one of the most successful sitcom actors of his generation. After Cheers ended, Wendt continued working in television, film, and theater. Although many actors struggle to escape the shadow of a famous role, he embraced the affection people felt for Norm Peterson. Rather than fighting against his legacy, he appreciated it. Audiences continued to greet him warmly wherever he appeared, and he remained grateful for the connection he had built with viewers over the decades. In later years, Wendt became something increasingly rare in modern entertainment. He was a performer associated with good memories. When people spoke about him, they often spoke about family nights, laughter, and a simpler period of television history. Few actors become linked so strongly with positive experiences across multiple generations. The announcement of his passing brought sadness throughout the entertainment industry. Former colleagues, television writers, actors, and longtime fans shared stories about his kindness and professionalism. Many remembered him not only as a talented performer, but also as a genuinely decent person who treated others with respect throughout his career. George Wendt leaves behind a legacy built on laughter, consistency, and connection. His work helped shape one of the most successful sitcoms America has ever produced, and his character became a permanent part of television culture. Long after the final episode of Cheers aired, audiences continued to smile whenever they saw him. Today, America remembers a man whose talent made millions laugh, and whose presence helped create some of television's most enduring memories. Loretta Swit. America is also remembering Loretta Swit, an actress whose work left a lasting mark on television history and whose career became closely connected to one of the most influential series ever produced. For millions of viewers, she was far more than a television character. She was a familiar presence who appeared in living rooms across America for more than a decade, helping shape how audiences viewed strong, intelligent, and determined women on screen. Born in New Jersey, Swit developed a passion for acting early in life. Like many performers of her generation, she spent years working to establish herself in a highly competitive industry. Success did not arrive overnight. She appeared in various television programs and stage productions, gradually building a reputation for professionalism and talent. Those years of persistence eventually led to the opportunity that would define her career and secure her place in American entertainment history. That opportunity arrived with M times A times S times H, the groundbreaking television series set during the Korean War. The show became much more than a comedy. It blended humor, drama, human emotion, and social commentary in ways television audiences had rarely seen before. Swit portrayed Major Margaret Houlihan, a character who evolved dramatically throughout the series. What could have remained a one-dimensional role became something much richer because of her performance. Over the years, Margaret transformed into one of the most respected and complex characters on television. Audiences watched as the character developed from a strict military officer into a fully realized individual with strength, vulnerability, intelligence, and compassion. Swit's portrayal helped challenge stereotypes and expanded opportunities for female characters in television storytelling. Her work earned critical acclaim, industry recognition, and the admiration of viewers across the country. She became one of the most recognizable women on American television during the 1970s and early 1980s. The success of M times A times S times H turned Swit into a household name. The series itself became a cultural phenomenon. Its finale remains one of the most watched television broadcasts in American history, a reminder of just how deeply the program connected with viewers. Throughout that remarkable run, Swit remained one of its central figures. Her performance helped give the show emotional depth and authenticity qualities that continue to attract new audiences decades later. Beyond acting, Swit became known for causes she cared deeply about. She devoted significant time to animal welfare efforts and charitable work, using her public platform to support organizations and initiatives that reflected her values. Many people who worked with her over the years spoke not only about her talent, but also about her generosity and dedication to helping others. Her influence extended beyond television screens into communities and organizations that benefited from her commitment. In her later years, Swit remained closely connected to fans who continued to celebrate her work. Television history changed dramatically during her lifetime, yet her performances remained relevant. New generations discovered M times A times S times H through reruns and streaming platforms, ensuring that her contributions continued to reach audiences long after the original broadcasts ended. The news of her passing has prompted tributes from actors, producers, writers, and viewers who grew up watching her. Many have reflected on the importance of her work and the lasting impact she had on television. For countless Americans, she represented excellence, professionalism, and a level of storytelling that helped define an era. Loretta Swit leaves behind a remarkable legacy. She helped create one of the most memorable characters in television history and contributed to a series that remains an important part of American culture. Her performances continue to entertain, inspire, and resonate with audiences. Today, America remembers a talented actress, a passionate advocate, and a television pioneer whose influence will endure for generations to come. Rick Derringer. America is also saying farewell to Rick Derringer, a musician whose career stretched across decades and whose influence reached far beyond the spotlight that first made him famous. While many artists are remembered for a single hit, Derringer built a legacy through constant reinvention. He was a singer, songwriter, guitarist, producer, and collaborator who left fingerprints on multiple generations of American music. His name may not have always dominated headlines, but his work became part of the soundtrack of American life. Born in Ohio, Derringer entered the music world at an unusually young age. His first major breakthrough came in the 1960s when he and his band recorded "Hang On Sloopy," a song that quickly climbed the charts and became one of the defining records of its era. Success arrived early, but unlike many young stars who faded after their first hit, Derringer continued evolving. He understood that surviving in the music business required more than one great moment. It required adaptability, talent, and a willingness to keep moving forward. Throughout the 1970s and beyond, Derringer established himself as one of the most respected guitarists in rock music. His technical ability earned admiration from fellow musicians, while his songwriting skills allowed him to remain relevant in a rapidly changing industry. One of his most famous solo successes came with Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, a song that became a staple of classic rock radio and helped define his identity as a performer. Even decades later, the song remained instantly recognizable to fans across America. What separated Derringer from many artists of his generation was the breadth of his career. He was not limited to performing his own material. He became a trusted collaborator and producer, working with numerous musicians and contributing to projects that reached audiences far beyond his personal fan base. Behind the scenes, he played a significant role in shaping recordings that helped define different eras of American popular music. Fellow artists often praised his professionalism, creativity, and deep understanding of the craft. His influence extended into unexpected corners of American culture. His music found new audiences through sports broadcasts, television programs, and live events. Even people unfamiliar with his name often recognized his work. That kind of cultural reach is difficult to achieve and even harder to maintain over several decades. Derringer managed to do both. As the music industry transformed through changing technologies, trends, and generations, Derringer remained active. He continued performing, recording, and connecting with audiences who appreciated authentic musicianship. Younger artists frequently cited musicians from his era as inspirations, and Derringer stood among those respected veterans whose contributions helped shape the foundations of modern rock music. In his later years, he was viewed not only as a performer, but also as a survivor of one of the most competitive industries in America. His career reflected persistence, adaptability, and a genuine love for music. Rather than chasing trends, he focused on the work itself. That dedication earned him lasting respect among peers and fans alike. News of his passing has generated tributes throughout the music community. Musicians, producers, and longtime listeners have shared memories of the records he created and the influence he had on their own lives and careers. For many, his death marks the loss of another important connection to a remarkable period in American music history. Rick Derringer leaves behind far more than hit songs. He leaves behind decades of creativity, collaboration, and musical excellence. His recordings continue to be played, his guitar work continues to be studied, and his influence continues to echo through the artists who followed him. Today, America remembers a musician who never stopped creating and whose contribution to rock music remains impossible to ignore. Today, America remembers 4 very different lives, 4 very different careers, and 4 very different journeys. Yet Bobby Sherman, George Wendt, Loretta Swit, and Rick Derringer shared something important. Each of them left a mark that reached far beyond their profession. They became part of the everyday lives of millions of Americans. Bobby Sherman represented a generation of young Americans who grew up during a period of enormous cultural change. His music and television appearances made him a household name, while his decision to dedicate part of his life to public service showed a different kind of character that many people admired. George Wendt brought laughter into homes across the country for years. Through one unforgettable television role, he became part of American popular culture and helped create memories that families still talk about decades later. Loretta Swit helped redefine what audiences expected from female characters on television. Her work on M×A×S×H remains one of the most respected achievements in television history, and her influence continues to be felt by performers and viewers alike. Rick Derringer spent decades contributing to American music. Whether through his own recordings or his work with other artists, he helped shape the sound of multiple generations and left behind a catalog of music that continues to find new listeners. Their careers were different, their paths were different, but all 4 helped shape American entertainment in their own way. Their voices, performances, music, and memories remain preserved through recordings, television broadcasts, and the countless people who grew up watching and listening to them. While these legends may no longer be with us, their work continues to live on. Future generations will still hear their songs, watch their performances, and discover the stories that made them important figures in American culture. Today, America says goodbye, but their legacy remains. Which of these 4 American legends will you remember the most?